Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I would like to cover Who's Who in the DC Universe, number 12, published in 1985 by DC Comics. We have another uncredited cover here, a wonderful wraparound cover with a nice black background. And I believe this is once again the handiwork of Paris Collins, although we cannot know for sure, as I have thus far been unable to locate a signature of any kind. And as I have noted, the cover artist is strangely uncredited in the front matter of this book. Let's dive in and take a look as we motor through. This makes the halfway point of my coverage of the first 24 issues of Who's Who in the DC Universe. Happy to bring it to you. Len Wein, writer-editor, Marv Wolfman, contributing writer, consulting editor, Robert Greenberger, associate editor and researcher, Mike W. Barr, Gary Kahn, Paul Levitz, contributing writers, E. Nelson Bridwell and Peter Sanderson, contributing writers and researchers, Todd Klein, contributing writer, production, Anthony Tolan, Len Wein, Tatiana Wood, Tom Ziuko, colorists. And we have one notable letter here from T.M. Maple, who is calling for a Who's Who in the DC Universe annual, and they explain that his letter's been truncated, but they do understand the urgency of his request, and they are planning a bunch more Who's Who related material. So we'll move along to our first entry, which is Johnny Double by Dennis Cohen and Bill Ray. Very notable Bill Ray inks here. I can always tell, especially when Bill Ray inks Luke McDonnell. It's got a very unique edge to it, and you could definitely see it here on his inks of Dennis Cohen's pencils on Johnny Double, whose first appearance was Showcase number 78. Occupation, former police detective, now private investigator. So again, one of many DC non-powered characters who were detectives or first responders or some sort of other like 1940s radio era mystery types. Next, we have a very important one, Jor-El, with art by Wayne Boring and the inimitable Jerry Ordway on inks. Lovely piece here. Really like the background colors as well. First appearance, Action Comics number 1. You can't really get a more storied DC character than Jor-El. Next up, Judo Master, Alderigo Rip Jogger. First appearance, Special War Series number 4. Art by Frank McLaughlin. And Judo Master is one of those characters that survived the crisis, but I think he had come over from another comic book company whose name escapes me right now. But yeah, definitely a warrior, a villain. As you can see, he's fighting a Nazi opponent in this particular sequence of his background artwork. Moving along. Oh, excellent. Now we get the Justice League of America with sort of the Detroit edition in the foreground here, favoring the artwork. And the artwork is by Luke McDonnell and the aforementioned Bill Ray. Pretty great stuff. Luke McDonnell was the artist when the Justice League Detroit version sort of wound down. They killed or got rid of some of the characters in some pretty gruesome fashions, and they had some pretty dramatic covers. This all came to a head during the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it paved the way for the new Justice League International book from J.M. DeMatteis, Keith Giffen, and Kevin Maguire. But yeah, nice group shot here of the Justice League. And it looks like we get their satellite headquarters. Very cool. Artwork by Howard Bender and Roy Richardson. It's very neat. You get a deck-by-deck breakdown. We came to take these for granted in the Handbook of the Marvel Universe. We don't always see them in this level of detail in the Who's Who by DC, but this is really nice. I really love the souvenir room here in the bottom left corner. You can see some kind of Starro artifact, which is really cool. And then you get a shot of the souvenir room. I guess it's in the top orientation of the satellite here. Very cool stuff. Love that purple background too. Nice artwork by Howard Bender and Roy Richardson. Oh, nice. So we got the Justice League. We've got to get the Justice Society. And I should add, this issue does cover Johnny Double to Kong, just so we know what our range is. J's through K's, most of the K's. And this one is excellent Jerry Ordway art. Boy, this would be a great poster. Jerry Ordway is so wonderful. What a great artist. And their first appearance was All-Star Comics #3. Really cool. Look at that membership, so storied. Jeff Johns had a great Justice Society run in the later 90s, early 2000s. I think that was really the last time I was buying a lot of new superhero comics. As now I confine most of my buying to reprint editions and hunting down old comics in dollar bins and elsewhere. Justice Society Headquarters by Todd McFarlane. That's cool. Todd McFarlane doing like a building entry, which is really, you don't really know or think of Todd McFarlane for his architectural drawings and design work, but this is nice. This interesting character, J. Wilbur Wolfingham. First appearance, Superman #26. Artwork by Bob Smith. What is his occupation? Confidence Man. So this is like your classic old school Superman villain here. Probably doesn't have any powers. All Wolfingham has to carry him to victory in his victory are his wits, and so far they have served him rather poorly. Okay, that's enough of him. Great Calabac here from Jack Kirby and Greg Thexton. His first appearance was, of course, in New Gods #1. Just a powerful character. And again, this is latter Kirby, but still really nice. Next up, we have Callista. Her first appearance was Green Lantern 141. You know, whether Green Lantern 141 is a hot key or not, and that term is really annoying, but I'd like to pick that up because I am a big Omega Man fan, and it would be cool to have the first appearance of so many neat DC space characters. Great artwork by Todd Smith, who took over the art from Keith Giffen. A few videos back, I did some nice Omega Men coverage. Check that out if you're interested. I cover issue 1, 3, 4, and 14. Just kind of a quick survey of the Omega Men. Very fun. Great Commandy, Last Boy on Earth by Jack Kirby and Greg Thexton. First appearance, Commandy #1. I think of all of Kirby's titles in his brief 2 to 3 year stint at DC, Commandy lasted the longest, although Kirby left and the book continued under other creative auspices. But yeah, very cool. There's a great Commandy animated short on one of the more recent DC DVD animated movies that I own. It might have been the Wonder Woman and the All-Star Squadron or something like that. Next up is Kana, Secret Shadow Warrior. GI Combat 232. Joe Brzezowski and Bob Smith. Nice ninja artwork there, very cool. Next up is the Bottled City of Kandor, with art by Howard Bender and Bob Smith. First appearance, Action Comics 242. And the second version, Superman 371. So imagine this, like something as storied as the Bottled City of Kandor. Action Comics ran so long and for so many years that this storied piece of Superman history didn't show up until 242 issues into Superman's long and epic run as a title. Just crazy to think about. Wow. Next up, Kanjar-O, Justice League of America #3 is his first appearance. Artwork by Murphy Anderson. And he was more of a gadget villain, although the entry does mention that at some points he had superpowers. He's just a classic. I mean, you think of the weird villains of the JLA, this guy's right up there. Oh, Karate Kid. Who could forget his incredible death at the hands of Nemesis Kid in that Eye for an Eye Legion series. Art by Steve Lightle and Larry Malstedt. Steve Lightle, still can't believe he's gone. What a talent. His first appearance, Karate Kid's first appearance, was Adventure Comics 346. Real name, Val Armour. Occupation, Legionnaire, Monarch Consort, because of course he was married to Princess, later Queen Projectra, later Censor Girl. Great characters. Really love Karate Kid. Great story after his death too, and featuring Timberwolf. I need to cover that one on the show at some point. Next up, Katana, probably my favorite Outsider. Totally awesome art by Outsider mainstay artist Jim Aparo. First appearance, Batman and the Outsiders. Preview, Brave and the Bold, number 200. And Tatsu Yamashiro is her real name. She possessed really cool, soul-stealing magical sword. What a great character she was. Very conflicted. Next up is The Key, with art by the inimitable Paris Collins and Eduardo Barreto. First appearance, Justice League of America, number 41. So this guy is a storied DC villain for sure. The Key is a master scientist who has developed a large variety of futuristic weapons, including devices that create interdimensional warps. Next up, the Khunds. Art by Dan Jurgens and Greg Thexton. The Khunds first appeared in Adventure Comics 346. They were a great foe for the Legion, and in fact, the Khunds feature as the villains in Legion of Superheroes 298, the very first comic I covered on this channel. So there's a little bit of Scott Reed's Comics trivia for you. Next up, Kid Devil by Alan Kupperberg and Bob Smith. First appearance, Blue Devil 14. Cute little character there. Next up, Kid Eternity. Kid Eternity. First appearance, Hit Comics number 25. Another weird DC title. There are hundreds of these strange DC titles out there, and Hit Comics is among them. Artwork by Murphy Anderson. Oh, Kid Flash, fantastic George Perez art on this entry. And first appearance, Flash 110. And of course, he possesses all the powers of the Flash, the ability to run at the speed of light at some point. Then it was later ratcheted down as he began to lose his powers. And eventually he became the Flash after the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Next up, Firestorm villain, Killer Frost, with art by Al Milgrom. I guess Al Milgrom, I most see him as a Marvel artist, but the most significant work he did for DC was on Firestorm. And Killer Frost's first appearance was Firestorm number 3. Very cool. Nice artwork by Mr. Milgrom. Oh, Killer Moth. Love him. Tom Mandrake. I love this Tom. This might be my favorite piece in this book so far. Really great artwork from Tom Mandrake on Killer Moth. First appearance, Batman 63. So again, another storied villain. Cameron Van Clear was his real name. Former socialite, now professional criminal. Next up, Killer Shark. We have 2 versions. First appearance, Black Hawk 269. And then Killer Shark 2 was Black Hawk 50. I'm not sure how that works out. Great artwork here by Kyle Baker. The King, another of those weird DC gadget villains with great art by Marshall Rogers. First appearance, Flash Comics number 3. King Faraday, great DC sort of espionage character. Carmine Infantino and Murphy Anderson on the artwork here. And first appearance was Danger Trail number 1. Knights of the Galaxy, art by Carmine Infantino and Joe Rubinstein. Joe Rubinstein working overtime, doing the heavy lifting. This piece looks pretty good. Very cool. Their first appearance was Mystery in Space number 1. Fitting. Oh, Cobra with excellent artwork by Alan Davis. Occupation, Insurrectionist and Would-Be World Conqueror. First appearance, Cobra number 1. Then we have Cole, with artwork by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Fantastic artwork. She was a post-crisis addition, I think, to the Teen Titans. Her first appearance was New Teen Titans number 9. Actually, scratch that. I think she was in the Crisis, and she might have perished there. Let me read this final. Although Cole was never officially a member of the Teen Titans, she joined them on many cases, culminating in the devastating Crisis on Infinite Earths, where she ultimately gave her life to protect her fellow citizens. Yeah, as I was looking at this, I remembered that sacrifice that she made. So she very much was part of the Crisis as an unofficial member of the Titans and paid the ultimate price in a final act of heroism. And finally, we have Kong the Untamed. Looks like Kazar's son from Marvel. Great artwork here by Alfredo Akela. First appearance, Kong the Untamed #1. Who would have thought he gets his own series? I guess he was a caveman or cave boy. And then finally, we get our inside back cover, which shows some of the issues, more recent issues that these characters are appearing in. Notable here is Karate Kid met his end in the Deluxe Legion of Superheroes #4. Katana can be seen every month in Batman and the Outsiders and The Outsiders. So yeah, those are nice little notes at the end, of course. And that's it. These issues are quick and breezy, and I like going through them, and I'm going to continue intermittently covering them as I move along with the channel and we march toward Who's Who in the DC Universe #24. But this has been my coverage of Who's Who in the DC Universe #12. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.